Hey guys, welcome back. So today's video is about doing a speed patch. It's all about getting in and out of the job as fast as humanly possible so that you can get back to your more profitable jobs. So I started a timer from the moment that I parked on the job. We are at 17 minutes. So that also involves setting up some lights and a couple of tripods and a camera. So I think we'll probably have to take off about 15 minutes at the end of the job to account for that. But anyways, here is what we've brought up. Lights, camera, drill, pan, brush, a couple of knives, some 5-minute mud, and a bucket of mud. Okay, if I wanted to be really hokey, I probably could just screw into here, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do a little better and put some proper backing into this. Contractor did a pretty good job leaving me a irregular shaped piece here. I remember cutting this out with a router. I wasn't worried about it being very straight because I figured it was going to be hidden by an access panel behind a cabinet. Okay, I'm not particularly happy with this edge, so I'm just taking off a bit of that fuzz so the mud can get in. I didn't bring a knife up, that's why I'm using my knife. As in, I didn't bring a olfa, so I'm using, that's a big gap, but it'll be okay. My knives are pretty sharp from getting dragged over drywall mud for years and years. Okay, so there really is nothing better than mesh tape for a patch like this. It's the fastest and easiest if you can find the end of it. And no, for a little patch like this, there's no pre-fill. Don't be silly, you guys. My goal is to get in and out of here and have had coffee by the time my 90-minute parking has expired. That's my goal. And we might be able to do even better than that. So let's get to the mixing. All right, we don't need too much, so don't mix too much. We've got Hamilton brand. It says 90, but it's not. This is 5-minute. Ever since 2020, they've been using the 90-minute bags for everything. They must have ordered way too much during all the Rona shortages of this one bag, so they've been using it for everything ever since. So this is 5-minute. If you fuss around with it, you're not even gonna get it out of the pan. We're almost good. I definitely mixed way too much. The second coat will be much thinner. I'm making a mess here. So really make sure those gaps get full. It's not about making it pretty yet, it's about making it strong at this stage. So get those gaps nice and full, almost like you're grouting tile. I mix this stuff thick, which is not a bad thing. Okay, now we can start getting this stuff on and trying to make it a little bit prettier. 10-inch knife. So I could try and build it out really nice at this stage. I might even actually try and get it fairly flat. Feather those edges. And of course we always have little bits of mesh tape deciding to show through. I'm not gonna worry about making it perfect yet. This is just the base coat. That is good enough. Time to clean up. So I told you I mixed up too much, but it's better to mix up a little bit too much than not enough. Okay, that's done. Okay, so it's definitely firmed up here, but if you're not totally sure, you can always check the stuff that you've just thrown out. So you can see it's already breaking, totally firming up. So right now is that magic point where if you have any lift-offs, anything that's undesirable, now's the time to smooth it down. And 5 minute is, I love how quick it sets up. Like, it really was about 2 minutes. Not 2 minutes since I started mixing, but 2 minutes since I stopped putting it on the wall. So this is just basically like sanding it. I'm just finding the high spots and taking them down. I'm also just playing with it at this point, but that's pretty good. Okay, I am gonna do a second mix because it usually does take me to get something perfect. I bet behind the cabinet, we could get away with just doing the one mix and then a skim of all-purpose, but let's not try and get away with something. Let's do the best job possible. Okay, there's no time to mess around here. We are dealing with 5 minute, but this time we are trying to get a pretty tight skim. This is the one that should really be flattening it out. Why am I using a pan and knife, not a hawk and trowel? Because it's about getting in and out of the job, not dirtying up as many tools as possible. That's pretty good. Anything else except for this little top row right here, we'll be messing with it. So there we go. I'm happy with that. That looks great. That's really flat without even polishing it yet. And same drill, clean up before you can't get it out of the pan. There's no time to mess around when you're working with 5 minute mud. Okay, time for the all-purpose light. And if you're wondering why we skim with all-purpose light, it's because it's less likely to flash when painting. Doesn't require super special primers. Usually a paint and primer in one will be good enough. And because it sands really easy. That's why. So this stuff's pretty thin. That's actually thinner than I would like it to be for a skim coat because it bubbles more when it's this thin. However, it's all I've got to work with. I wasn't gonna bring up another box of mud and the mixing paddle and all that stuff and set up for this, so it's gonna be good enough because we have this so generally flat. Like, a lot of the time you can't tell how flat my work is on camera. It just gets kind of whitewashed and all looks flat. This is really flat, like really flat. So it just needs something that takes paint better than the hot mud. And even though I said it's really flat, it doesn't mean there's nothing, right? It could always be tuned up a little. Now be careful. Oh, see, now it's dragging. Should have waited a little bit longer. Honestly, it would have been better for me to do nothing to this one. Oh well. We're just waiting. Okay, I know what to talk about. So some of you guys might be wondering, well, what would you charge for something like this? So normally an in and out patch like this, I might charge somebody $200 to $250 if they're a regular customer, like the person I'm doing this for. However, this is a good friend of mine who's let me film on a lot of his jobs. I'm probably only gonna charge him like a couple hours of time to come out and do this. I'm gonna let him sand it and paint it, so I'm not really losing any time or money on that. So basically, like, it's up to you. Some people might charge up to like $400 for something like this, which For a customer that you have a good relationship with, that's kind of asking a lot in my opinion. But I don't usually do one-off patches for people. I kind of only do patches for people I already have an existing relationship with. So I'm often probably undercharging for the small patches. Oh man, that's dragging. So I don't know if you guys can see that. I'll bring you up close. I would have been better off not to touch it. I'm just gonna go straight for a skim of the all-purpose. You'll kind of lubricate it a little bit so that my knife isn't dragging and pulling on that. And if there was any delamination from that, it's going to be under the cabinet in the location that it was. So not terribly worried about it, but I also don't think that it's going to delaminate. Yeah, I wish this mud was thicker, but it's not. So my goal right now is just to try and work the porosity out of the mud so that it sands up and paints real smooth. And we're looking pretty good here. All right, that's good enough. I'm not gonna touch it. Okay, let's see what that looks like up close. One more, and one more up here. Okay, so you can see a little bit of quickset kind of shining through there, but if somebody sands it gently, it should be fine. You can see how there's just a thin skim. I mean, thick enough that I've got a decent lift off, but a thin skim with no porosity covering the entire surface. So a few quick pushes with a sanding pole or a sanding sponge and it'll be good. Okay, but we aren't done. We now have the mad dash to clean up. Okay, you guys, so we are done. 1 hour, 1 minute, and 57 seconds. Anyways, that was the patch. I hope you guys are doing awesome. Yeah, till the next one. Bye.